Hey guys, it's Kevin Gizmer for Girl Meets World, Season 2, Episode 10, Girl Meets the New Teacher. Now, I was very hesitant on this episode because, well, not exactly hesitant, but, as you guys know, I didn't really love last week's episode. I thought it was just okay. The ending was great, but I didn't really find it funny. So I didn't really know how this episode would be, and, I was really hoping that this episode would be, what I really love in this show. Less of Girl Meets Mr. Squirrels goes to Washington and more of Girl Meets Hurricane. And obviously, this episode wasn't as good as that one because that is the best episode of Girl Meets World of all time. However, I loved this episode. I thought this was a fantastic episode. Definitely up there with the best ones of all time. Honestly, it's one of the best. I think it was a fantastic episode, and there were so many things that this episode said that I really did love, and I love the message of this episode as well, which is something that I feel is actually very important. I really do like, and let's just get into this episode because there's a lot to discuss. So basically, this episode surrounded around Riley and Maya, Lucas's, Farkle's, all their English teacher. Basically quit because I guess they drove him, up a wall and he quit, and I thought that was pretty funny. How Corey was reading the letter to them, basically told them that they're gonna get a new English teacher, and this is an English teacher that Corey personally picked out, and this girl is named Harper Burgess, and basically she is basically kind of like Mr. Turner, if you remember. If you remember Mr. Turner from the first few seasons of Boy Meets World to season 4, he of course was kind of like the cool teacher. Well, that's exactly Harper, except she's even more. She drives a motorcycle. She wears a leather jacket. I mean, Maya grows an interest in her immediately, and it was pretty funny when Maya's like, Am I supposed? I'm not supposed to I'm not supposed to learning on Maya. I thought that was really funny when we got to that, but I definitely really enjoyed that. I have to say. However, this teacher's idea of learning, I think, is really interesting because she doesn't teach normal graphic. She doesn't teach normal books like all English teachers do. She teaches graphic novels. I mean, the second she gets there, she starts talking about Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. And it very much reminds you of the scene with Mr. Turner talking about X-Men, and I definitely really like that. She's talking about how, the good versus evil part of it with Batman, Superman, and all that kind of stuff. And they kind of think she's joking. They don't think she's actually, telling the truth and doesn't actually want to read the book. And then the principal basically comes in, and he doesn't like what she's doing at all. He's like, no, 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 that is against school policy. Don't you dare read graphic novels. And I'm just thinking, graphic novels, in my school, they would probably, do that, honestly. There are teachers in my school that would do that. Yes, in my school, I'm happy to say that we do have an English teacher like that. There is an English teacher that I think, not really, leather jacket or anything like that, but there is a teacher that definitely does more than what regular teacher would do, and I definitely really like that. So, the kids really take an interest in this teacher, and, even after the principal says stop reading graphic novels, she still goes along with it because, hey, that's what she wants to teach. That's her lesson. You know what? Here's the thing. A principal cannot really tell. I mean, a principal can tell a teacher what to do, but if a teacher has lessons plans, you should really just go along with it and let her see how it goes. And basically, Riley and Maya absolutely are, over the moon about this new teacher. They're sitting at dinner, and we finally see Augie again. We have not seen Augie in such a long time. Augie's telling this story about his school day, which I thought was pretty funny. But Maya and Riley are eating really quickly at the dinner table, and Topanga's asking why, and they actually want to do it so they can finish their homework because they're actually very into the comic book, which I thought was really funny. And Topanga starts to remember about Mr. Turner and how he was such a pushover for them and what he did, and how he taught them X-Men and things like that. And that I thought was definitely very interesting that we saw that, and I definitely really like that. And I thought that was overall just really interesting the way they start talking about Mr. Turner and how they make fun of the fact that Mr. Feeney taught them all years, and Augie's like, that could never happen again, and Corey's like, we'll see, and I thought that was pretty funny. That's kind of foreshadowing that maybe Corey is going to do what Mr. Feeney did, which that would be really funny if that happened, honestly. I could definitely see that happening. So basically, they talk about how, Topanga's kind of skeptical about this teacher being there because she's not sure if times are the same and if the principal's the same, which you can definitely tell the principal is not a Feeny. He's not. He is probably the most downright mean principal you could think of. He doesn't really seem to give a shit about his students. He really doesn't. And he basically ends up firing her. He ends up firing her after he sees her teaching the lesson again, and Corey comes in to try to stop it and tell him, hey, you should probably just try to give her a chance. And make a long story short, Corey is fired as well, and basically they're both fired, and I thought that was pretty huge when that happened. So both of them are fired. They both don't really know what to do at this point, because obviously they were both fired, and they don't know what they should really do about this. So basically, we see that they want to make a change and try to, Corey wants to try to prove why Harper is doing what she's doing. And the first thing we find out, and this I thought was really interesting, the principal wanted her to read To Kill a Mockingbird. We find out that she actually does. She's actually named after Harper Lee, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah, she's named after Harper Lee. Her name is Harper Lee. And her dad probably, named her after Harper Lee, and she probably would have gotten to that at some point. I like that Corey did say that. However, the principal's not having it. He's there to fire them and to teach them how to teach and everything. However, then we get to the best moment of the episode, because he's basically like, oh, well, what experience did you have? And we find out that the superintendent is none other than Mr. John Turner. And that was awesome to see Mr. Turner make an appearance. I mean, the thing with Mr. Turner is that he just disappeared in Season 4, and then they never spoke about him again. It was really strange. I mean, they did have that little, cameo in Season 5, which was pretty funny. But after that, we never saw Mr. Turner again. So I like that we actually got to see him again. We actually caught up with him. And he talks about how after his motorcycle accident, he married this nurse, and in case it ever happened again, which I thought was pretty funny, he doesn't drive a motorcycle anymore, but now he's a superintendent of the schools, and I think it was really cool to see Mr. Turner again, I have to say. And he talks about how there's really nothing wrong with Harper's doing, and if she wants to teach X-Men, let her, and, he should do that, and she will, that, and I like what he says, that teachers that do that believe students are more capable than what they are. I mean, think about it. She knows that, this teacher knows that Maya is a lot more capable. She tries to get the students interested, and she knows that if they read something interesting, they can enjoy it, and they'll be able to understand it, and that'll prepare them for future works. That very much reminded me of a teacher that I had in English class. I mean, probably every teacher I've had in English class so far in high school, they don't just give you a book and say, okay, read it. They don't do that. They actually, go over it. They try to make it interesting. And that's something I think is really important to a teacher. And I like this episode really did touch upon that. Because honestly, with a teacher, you shouldn't just hand the students a book and be like, okay, read it. You shouldn't do that. You should talk about it. You should try to get them into stuff they'd actually be interested in. And that's something I thought was really good about this episode. The way that Mr. Turner brought that up, I thought was really good. So basically, he tells the principal to give her a chance, see if she can do well, because she's a lot better than he's making her out to be, and I thought that was definitely very good. Also, I love the Batman Superman references in this episode, because Corey has this conversation with Maya and Riley and I also liked how Corey talked about history and English are very much the same, because they each have heroes and villains, and there are heroes and villains in real life, and the principal's like, oh, that's bullshit, there's no way that's real, but Corey tries to convince him that, yes, there are heroes and villains, and I thought that was very well done that he said that, because honestly, yeah, think about wars and things like that. There always will be a hero and a villain. You'll always have to conquer those enemies, and I like that Corey said that, because it really does prepare kids for the real world. Honestly, it does, and I think it was really good that Corey said that. So Mr. Turner asked the principal to give her a chance, which he basically does, and he asked the kids to basically just let her teach, but they're going on about what they really love about this teacher, and Lucas talks about how he actually read a lot of it, and he really enjoyed it, and he thought it was a really good book, but Harper's more interested, and by the way, I think it's really cool that she let them call her by her first name, which was pretty awesome, but basically, Harper's more interested in hearing what the kids have to say especially Riley and Maya, which this was a very good, I really love this part here, because basically Maya talks about how the difference is she actually was interested, she enjoyed it, she got something out of it, and the teacher sees that she's a lot more capable than what she thinks she is, and I thought that was very well done. I definitely really enjoyed that, I have to say, and I really love that message in the episode of just, education, yeah, it's important, but it's not so much about the material, it's more about what you're teaching and why it's important, and going up in beyond just regular curriculum and doing things like that. And I thought that was very well done, the way they did that, and the way that Riley and Maya were kind of like trying to make Harper look like the best teacher ever, I thought was really funny. I definitely really enjoyed that. And then the part where the principal was like, they're talking about Farkle, he's like, is he a genius? I don't, and Corey's like, I don't know, we don't know yet. I thought that was pretty funny. I like that as well. And basically that's what happens there. So the next day they all gather around and they're talking, and Corey, basically they talk about whether or not Harper, it worked out, and basically John said that, Miss Turner said that someone had to go, but then we realized that they did let Harper stay. They are going to give her another chance, and I hope we see her again. I really like her character. I think she could be really good in the show, and I definitely really like what she's doing for the kids. I definitely really like seeing her teach these kids. She seems to be a really good teacher, and I can't wait to see if they do more with her, because I really do like her as that teacher. I think she's very good. And the actress that plays her, I've really liked in everything I've seen her in, so I definitely hope we see Harper again, because I really like what they were doing with her. So she's going to be their teacher, and she's going to basically teach them whatever the hell she wants to, because the principal can't tell her what she can't teach. So I definitely really like that, and that was very well done. So basically, the end of the episode I thought was fantastic. They're all sitting around the dinner table talking about Mr. Turner and how much of an impact he had on Corey. And Topanga's like, how dare you lie? How dare you lie to my children? I thought that was really funny. I definitely really enjoyed that. And because we all know that Corey really didn't try in high school, which is Mr. Turner basically just counted on him and had a lot of more faith in him, just like Mr. Feeney did. And I thought that was pretty funny. And then they and then they get to this part, which this I love. I really hope that Shawn does guest star in an episode with Mr. Turner and we see him again, because what Mr. Turner says I really did love. He talks about how Shawn, he always did think of him as son. He still does. And I thought that was just really sweet, because of course we all remember when Mr. Turner took Shawn in to basically be his guardian. It was an amazing moment, and that's one of my favorite things that Boy Meets World ever did, was seeing those two as like a fatherly, kind of like the father that Shawn never had. I love that. I love that he brought that up, and I thought that was fantastic. And then the way the episode ended, where Topanga said, you gave me an A- once. Can you change that? That's like classic Topanga. We all remember the scene in the graduation episode where Mr. Feeney gave them that assignment that they didn't have to do, but Topanga wanted to do it anyway so she could get like the highest GPA ever, which I thought was hilarious. And that was just classic Topanga, which I love. They don't show it a lot, but a lot of times that inner high school Topanga does come out, and I love that. And that's one of those moments where it did, and I thought that was a perfect way to end the episode, and I really did love that. So overall, guys, really solid episode. I really love the message of this episode. I thought it was a very important episode as well for today. I mean, there are so many teachers that don't really care, and it's like, here, do this test, here, learn this, and I hate teachers like that. I really hate teachers that they teach you things, and they teach you notes, and they expect you to know it all. No, I prefer teachers like Harper, honestly, because she goes above and beyond to make it more fun for them, make it more interesting, prepare them more for the real world. I'm not saying, like, you shouldn't teach these subjects, but you should do what Harper does and try to teach them something a little bit more out of the box, which I thought was really good that she did that, and I definitely really like that, and I think it's a very good message for many people today. Education, as I said, it's important, but it's not just the material, it's what you're actually teaching. What is the message of this? What's the real lesson that the kids are getting out of this? That's something I think the episode touched very well upon. I definitely really did love, I have to say. I really, really did love this episode. Definitely one of my favorites by far. I really hope we do see Harper again. I think she's a very, very good teacher. I really like her character as well. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. My only complaint is I wish we would have seen Shawn, and we didn't. It might have been nice to see a Shawn and Mr. Turner scene, but we really didn't, and it might have been nice to do that, but he wasn't there. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Overall, guys, one of the best episodes by far. Absolutely loved it. Very heartwarming, very nice message, and I really like the character of Harper overall. Hope we see her again. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for another classic review. I know I'm very behind, but don't worry. There are more coming. probably 2 classic movie reviews coming today. Hopefully, I can get 2 in, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.